WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even at commentary.
And I'm Precious Denny O. How about that? For the rest of the today, cloudy, a 20% chance of showers with the highs in mid-70s, northeast winds around 10 miles per hour. For tonight, cloudy, showers likely mainly after midnight, lows in the mid-60s. Sunday, cloudy with showers likely with a chance of thunderstorms mainly in the morning, highs in the lower 80s, east winds at around 5 miles per hour. For Sunday night, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and thunderstorms in the evening, lows in the upper 60s. Monday, back to work day, partly sunny. Chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, humid with the highs in the upper 80s. Currently, we are at 69 wonderful degrees here at WBCB Wrestling Power Radio. And right now we have alongside of me, Lucas. Good morning, or good afternoon,
How you guys doing today is welcome to a
Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Very special edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly. So, Fearon's running a little bit late.
It's the late Fearon Dairy.
Yeah. So we're going to we're gonna talk some wrestling as best as we can. So,
okay. What's current in wrestling?
So let's see. So down to some recent news. So if in case you guys haven't heard, Ricardo Rodriguez was released from WWE. Ricardo was he was a long time the personal ring announcer for Alberto Del Rio, and I'm actually a little bit upset that they released him. But you know what?
Was there a reason?
WWE has not been doing very well. They're losing money, and they in the past, like last quarter, they cut about 7% of their staff. And now they're going to have to cut guys. They're going to have to start letting go people at in their offices in Stanford. But, you know, I think it was for the best for Ricardo because, you know, we weren't really seeing that much of him on TV. He was, you know, you'd see him occasionally on the with the Spanish ring announcers, and, you know, that was good. But, you know, like, it really, I mean, my mom always said, when one door closes, another door opens. And hopefully we'll be seeing Ricardo Rodriguez somewhere else. You know, I mean, when you look at a lot of the announcers, like let's see, Jim Ross, Todd Grisham, Jonathan Coachman, they've all got jobs on SportsCenter. I actually follow Ricardo Rodriguez on Instagram. He's a huge music fanatic. You know, maybe we could see him in the future, you know, managing a music group or something like that.
Now, are there any up-and-coming stars that are just breaking into the wrestling?
You know, they actually, WWE has signed Kenta, who was he was a huge star in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I believe they signed they just signed somebody else. I don't really know the name. I could check later, but you know, it's just there is something I did want to bring up today. It's the fact of new wrestling stars and the fact of you know, Vince McMahon. You know,
he's been there forever.
Yeah, he has been there forever. He and as much as I don't. Like, the guy's a millionaire, and you know what? He should be respected, but there's just he's got some flaws. And it's the fact that, like...
Is he too full of himself?
I don't think he's too full of himself. It's just the fact that, like, the prototypical wrestling guy is 6 foot, jacked up, you know, like a John Cena, Stone Cold, The Rock. These are the guys that Vince wants to have the title. And I actually wanted to talk about, Daniel Bryan, Ricardo Rodriguez, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, a lot of these guys that the fans really want to push because they have potential, but they're not the biggest guys. And especially Daniel Bryan with the injury, he has to go for a second surgery, and he's slated for an early 2015 return. That really begs the question: has Daniel Bryan become a novelty with the WWE? You see it a lot. You see, I want you guys to think, who was the last person besides Daniel Bryan that got a push from the fans and actually got somewhere with it? I mean, Daniel Bryan looked like I don't even think Daniel Bryan, he had something, and he got injured again, or he got injured and he lost the title, and now they had to resort to giving it back to Cena. You see these a lot with the guys that get pushes, like Dolph Ziggler last year, and I believe the year before that, was a world heavyweight champion. 2013, 2011, he got a concussion and they cut his push short. And it's some of these guys, it just doesn't seem to work out. And with Daniel Bryan, he's really, you haven't been seeing much of him. Is he gonna be able to still be the guy with the fans when he comes back? Are we really gonna be able to wait that long for Daniel Bryan to get the title again? Because they want Roman Reigns to get the title. They want him, and I believe him and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31. And where does Daniel Bryan fit in the picture after he comes back?
That's true. Do you wrestle yourself? Or do you want to?
I do want to wrestle. I haven't done it in a while. I used to go on the
Now, what's the mentality of getting into that whole era of wrestling?
I feel like I really haven't, when I do it on the trampoline, it's a fact of, try not to get hurt. You got to make sure that the person you're doing with, also, when I show my friends how to do it, you got to make sure that you're showing them the right way, because if you slip up, you could be costing not only your life, but also your friend's life. And if you do that the wrong way, and you're not even have proper training, you might as well just drop, put down the wrist tape right there.
Now, the wrestling, not industry, but the phenomenon of wrestling, has that grown over the years, or has it declined?
I think there's a mixture. It's gone a lot more mainstream. At the same time, a lot of the fans are starting to move on, and UFC is starting to be a big thing. But pro wrestling, I think it's a lot bigger. There's a lot more people into it, but it had a lot more, I guess you could say, true fans back in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. I'm not saying a lot of people aren't true fans. I can't really describe a true fan of wrestling, but it's the fact that a lot of the little kids that they only really know John Cena and Roman Reigns, and sometimes people don't know what they're talking about. I'm not saying that's any of the listeners here. All of the listeners here,
I'll be the first to admit, I don't know what I'm talking about, because I was never a fan or follower of the pro wrestling.
Even I sometimes don't know what I'm talking about. I just tried to sound smart. A lot of the listeners here, I give you credit. You guys make up make some great points. And but it's also, there's people out there that just sometimes they just want to put themselves over as a wrestling fan. I don't understand why people cheer for CM Punk. He's not coming back. It's the fact that even when CM Punk's he got married to AJ, who was the women's champion or Divas champion. They chant his name when she comes out, and that's sort of taking away from the other wrestlers, because whenever a match gets boring or whenever something doesn't go their way, they start chanting for CM Punk because they just want something entertaining to happen. And, it just doesn't make sense. And
so you're how old now?
I'm 16.
You're 16. And how did you become really involved and interested in the wrestling? What prompted you to do that?
I first got into watching wrestling. I had a friend down the street. He used to have all the wrestling figures, and I thought they were so cool. I started out playing with the wrestling figures, and then we started playing the video games, and I thought, I'd like to see what it's like on TV. My mom was never a big, she never really wanted me and my brother and I to watch pro wrestling in the house. And I believe I was in 5th grade, and I finally persuaded her. I'm like, Mom, it's family friendly now. It's TV PG. Please just let me watch it. And she finally caved in and let me watch it. And that's when I really, I was 10 years old. I didn't know what I was really talking about. Well, what was really going on, especially as a newcomer. There's never really, you can pick up wrestling at any time, and but it takes a while for you to get used to what's going on. I knew wrestling was predetermined, but I didn't know what a jobber was, what a road agent was, and what bookers did. I just knew that it was predetermined. I didn't know. Really, I didn't. I only knew that much.
Now, is there a typical demographic or an age group that
really
follows pro wrestling?
A lot of the newer fans were around my age, 7 and 8. But there's always fans that could get into it. I have my friend who's also 16. He's starting to sort of get acquainted with wrestling. You can start really at any age, but usually I think Bobby the Brain Heenan said it the best. Once you're hooked, you're hooked on the business, you're hooked for life. That's really, if at any point, and I believe he actually proved that with me. A lot of the fans, a lot of the listeners know I'm a huge Jeff Hardy fan. In 2009, he was he was in a retirement match with CM Punk, and Jeff Hardy lost. I really stopped watching because Friday Night SmackDown there wasn't really any one for me to watch. Plus the fact that that year I had started wrestling for school, so the collegiate wrestling, and my parents said that's really frowned upon, when you watch wrestling and do actual collegiate wrestling. So I sort of had to stop watching, and I don't know why. That was really a stupid reason to stop watching.
Now, when you're saying collegiate wrestling, that's the
wrestling in the Olympics in middle school,
real
high
wrestling,
school.
that I would call it, on the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to.
Well, really, I don't understand how it's real wrestling. It's the difference is the thing is predetermined, because you got guys like Kurt Angle, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler. These guys have amateur backgrounds. Really, it's called amateur wrestling, but even when you're considered a technical wrestler like Owen Hart, Bret Hart, these guys. Really, you were using moves like double leg takedowns and arm drags and hip tosses. That would be stuff that you would learn in amateur wrestling in school and in college and the Olympics. But
But that is, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. All right.
Fearon does it too, so
So in college or high school wrestling, it is not predetermined. It's what you're capable of doing.
It's the fact that two guys that the only thing that these two wrestlers, when you're going into a match in middle school and high school, and even when I was in elementary school, the only thing you knew was they were the same weight class as you. You didn't know how many years this kid was had been wrestling. He could have been starting this year. He could have been wrestling since he was 5.
Sure.
You never really know, and that was really a lot of the reasons that I got my butt handed to me on the mat. But back to what I was saying about what I really got into it. I once WrestleMania 28 hit, it was Rock versus Cena. That was I really started to get back into wrestling. Started watching, not every week, but it was every now and then if I saw it was on the TV listening, let's see what's going on there. And then I believe it was July 27th of 2013 was when I met Fearon Derry at the Oxford Valley Mall. Shawn Michaels was at the Oxford Valley Mall, and I saw him walking up with 2.
Are you bragging or complaining? That you met Fearon Derry.
I really don't know.
I think it's more of the latter, to be honest.
Oh, Fearon, nice of you to join us.
Yes, the late Fearon Derry.
The very comments have been coming in wildly on the Facebook fan page, WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page. Oh, gosh.
Well, we're going to take
my favorite, we'll get into it on the other side. We'll take care of a little bit of business, and then we'll start the show accurately and figure out if I still have a job right after this.
Johnny Cage was all right. I mean,
I was more of a Sub-Zero guy, or Scorpion.
I was more like a Liu Kang.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
Maybe even a...
We're going to end the show on a Mortal Kombat discussion.
Yeah, they're coming out with a new video game, Mortal Kombat X. It looks good. It looks great.
Ending the show and starting it at the same time. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you finally It only took about, 15 minutes? Something like that?
You know, it happens to the best of us. I was trying to keep it as well as I could.
And you know what? You did very well. For your 1 year anniversary, you really got a hell of a baptism by fire.
Yeah.
This was like the Cain baptism by fire, but you just had hell, fire, brimstone, everything coming at you all at once.
Hellfire's burning.
Okay, this has apparently been a day of firsts for me, and if I'm not careful, maybe a day of lasts for me as well. It started off at 6 o'clock this morning, 5 minutes before I'm getting ready to go on the air to do my weather report and start the chart toppers. I come down with the hiccups. First time in 6 years plus on the air that I'm like trying to read the weather report. Cloudy with showers like... Yeah, it was a mess. It was an awful mess.
Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yeah, exactly. I turned into Bubba Ray Dudley, only instead of stammering, it was hiccuping. It was awful. And then I rush through. I get all my notes together. I'm like, oh, good. I'll stop home real quick, say hi to the family, get like a little nap in, set the alarm. The alarm decides that it wants to give me the silent treatment, literally and figuratively. And next thing you know, I'm feeling a buzzing of my phone at about 12:03, and it is this young intern here to my left, basically going, "Where the bleep are you? We're on the air in 2 minutes, and you're roughly 15 to 20 minutes away. What do I do?" Panic ensues. Panic.
You know what?
Panic,
I'm just
help,
like,
help.
you know what? Okay, what I'm gonna do, Denny, you grab the board. We're gonna freestyle this.
We're gonna
go.
figure
Whose
this
line
out.
Is it anyway on this?
No music, no wire, no intro, no nothing. Just right off the cuff. Yeah, well, at this point, it's kind of a moot point because we're already a third of the way into the show.
Yeah.
The Facebook fan page already getting all kinds of reaction. John from Northeast Philly chiming in. The Late Show with Fearon Derry plus Lucas the Intern and the WBCB Orchestra. And it's got a picture I know this is a dated reference. Beavis and Butthead with Butthead dressed as David Letterman and Beavis dressed as Paul Schaefer.
Shut up, Beavis.
Does that mean I have to get a gap in my teeth? Oh gosh, what a mess, to say the least. Can we
read off some other ones? Are they too like?
I should have known this was coming. This Robert chiming in. This would have never happened with Eric Gargiulo at the helm. Maybe. Eric Gargiulo didn't have. You know what? I'm not even going to make excuses at this point. This is just if the listening audience was an ECW-esque crowd, they'd be chanting "You bleeped up, you bleeped up, you bleeped up." Yes. Eric from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Only thing that could add to this discussion is more video game talk featuring Lucas the Intern and Fearon. See, I'm gone for 15 minutes and you're getting top billing all of a sudden. What the hell?
As Bob Dylan said, the times they are changing. Unfortunately, Ron Burgundy never heard that song. Milk was a bad choice.
And apparently the winds of change are blowing as well.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
I've got some bad news. This might be my last episode of WBCB Pro
don't
Wrestling
say that,
Weekly.
Ron. You'll be fine.
Miro called me into the office. Fearon, I hate to do this to you, but you're fired.
Well, I'm going to have to fire you too, Matt. Boop, 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 boop. Another Anchorman reference.
That's just what we need.
That was another Anchorman.
And of course, on top of it, I got a phone call yesterday. Also conspicuous by his absence, at least for the hour, is Nick Cataldi.
Boo!
Yeah, he's not here either. So that totally screws things up here.
Thank God, though, that
to take from one of your drops, this goes solely to me.
I'm an idiot.
Yes, I'm an idiot, or at least I'm a very tired idiot. I don't know. Maybe Zeb Coulter's fears will come true, and I don't know. Maybe Ricardo Rodriguez will come in here, and he'll take my job now.
They took our jobs!
And they take our jobs.
They took our jobs!
Yeah, this is also the other. This is the other downside to me being at the board is I put drops and things in.
John put that on. I forget what John from
Northeast Philly
put that on, but he was like, "They took her jab, derp, derp, derp," and I was
done
myself.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop laughing, especially because they did that with the WWE thing. There was like, not only that, Cena, it was Edge talking to Cena. You broke my jaw. He broke his jaw. He broke his jaw.
Oh yes, that was all kinds of hysterical. All right, what the heck to talk about now that we're already well past the show? Thank you again for filling in No notes, because I had the notes with me, and at that point I didn't have the chance to say, hey, here it is on this file that printed out. So it's like we're starting the show anew almost.
Why don't we talk about Daniel Bryan a little bit more? Well, first of all, Brie Bella is facing Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam.
Yeah, there we go. The updated SummerSlam card. Great way to start.
Well,
Yeah,
it's also-
Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella.
Not really what I wanted, but it's just the fact that the thing about Daniel Bryan being a novelty. Obviously, who's really heading the Yes movement right now, who's active, would be Brie Bella. Whenever they see her on TV, they go, yes, yes, yes. And you know what? I'm not knocking Brie Bella. It's just that she should have her own thing. And it would be like, because Daniel Bryan's out, it would be like Bill Alfonso going out and blowing his whistle for 15 minutes because Rob Van Dam had to do a second surgery. It's just like they're trying to keep it alive.
Less whistle is good.
They're
whether it's Bill Alfonso, whether it's Coach John Tolos, very old
Titus
reference.
O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil. Yeah, look at me going backwards, completely ass backwards.
And it's just the fact that, like, you know, they're trying to keep this alive, but is Daniel Bryan really going to be the guy when he gets back? Are the fans still going to be behind him, or is it going to be like, is it going to be another novelty? Because I remember, I think it was before WrestleMania 30, Triple H made a great point. The fandangoing. That was like the Yes movement, like who they, like, that just
what
started
are
out of
people
nowhere.
going to do with their arms now?
Yeah.
Fandangoing's out of the way, or at least that hasn't been a thing since April 2013.
It's like, is he...
The Yes movement seems to be on hiatus. Right now it's more of a maybe,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Possibly.
I have no
Perhaps. Oh, I don't know. Actually,
He's
I
slated
was going to say, there's a lot to get into, and I guess, had you had notes in front of you, we've been able to talk, go with, I guess, the lead story. Spike TV. I told you about it earlier in the week, opting not to renew Impact Wrestling, or at least so says TMZ. Spike TV letting TNA know that they will not be renewing their TV contract for Impact Wrestling. I know people say, "Oh, why are you leading off with a TNA story?" No, it's a pretty big deal. This is kind of like, now you were just out of diapers at the time in 2001 when.
Yeah.
What? Why are you giving me that smirk?
No,
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
like, yeah, probably, yeah.
So I didn't say in diapers because you would have been
Actually,
around
no,
like
I was
3.
in preschool at that point.
You were in preschool at 3?
2001, yes. My
Well, no
first
wonder
day-
you're a smart son of.
You know the fun. Well, not. It's ironic. Well, not. I don't know how to put this.
Don't you think?
It's like a my first day of spring.
On your wedding day?
Yeah, my first. I got the reference though.
Yeah,
my
very
first day
good.
of preschool was September 11th, 2001.
Oh dear. Well,
Yeah.
this was a little before that. This
Yeah.
was in March of 01, but when new management came in from AOL Time Warner to run TBS and the Turner Broadcasting stations, and Jamie Kellner, I believe was his name, he couldn't stand wrestling, and first chance that he got, he gave all WCW programming the axe and said, all right, as of March 2001, there'll be no more WCW Nitro, no more WCW Thunder on TBS, TNT.
That's when they bought out. Well,
Without the TV deal, they were pretty much nothing. That's when their value plummeted, and that's where Vince McMahon swept in and for roughly $3 million said, sure, I'll take it.
do you think
and then
what's
owned
gonna
a
happen with
monopoly.
TNA? Could we possibly be seeing like?
Oh, Vince has his own financial concerns, and we'll get into that in a moment. But the TNA's current deal with Spike TV runs reportedly through this October, so about 2.5 months from now. Spike TV and TNA head Dixie Carter, wow, I'm all kinds of discombobulated today, have both stated that there are ongoing negotiations between the two organizations. They're kind of saying at TMZ jumped the gun. So they have to find a new home for Impact Wrestling or negotiate a new deal with Spike, and if they don't, it could likely spell the end of TNA Wrestling, and WWE would, I guess, go back to a monopoly or something of that nature. Speaking of WWE and monopoly and other finances, this is hardly Boardwalk, Park Place, or even
Pennsylvania Avenue. That's
sure. That would be the next. Oh, that'd be the next one that isn't a railroad. Yes, for those of you Monopolites out there.
That was not.
I was going to say
that was
you're
not Monopoly. I'm sorry. I was in D.C. on Monday, so Pennsylvania Avenue is like.
No, that's one of the green spaces.
Oh, it is? Okay, just checking.
Yeah. It's been a while since you played, obviously.
Yeah.
Or I was going to say Mediterranean or Baltic, but WWE, they had their financial quarterly reports this past Thursday. The number I think a little disappointing, but they found a way to put more spin on it than any political discussion ever. Now, if you remember back right after WrestleMania, WWE said, yeah, we have 667,000 subscribers. It's a little less than what we had planned, but now that with WrestleMania season, we figure there's going to be a big boom. No. As of, I think, June 30th, they've gone up a whopping 33,000 to roughly 700,000 subscribers to the WWE Network.
That's good, though, isn't it? You got 700... From 33 to 700,000?
No, from 667 to 700. They only went up 33,000 in the last few months.
Oh, that's
so. I mean, they were hoping to be well over 1 million by now. But the way they spun it, and this had me scratching my head and all kinds of confused. They said that they had gained 161,000, but lost 128,000 along the way. And I'm thinking, it's a 6-month commitment. How these people who signed up day one are locked in through August 24th at the earliest? How do I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I'm sure there are some. I mean, I don't know if this is another Vince turning 78,000 into 93,173 like he did at the Pontiac Silver Dome Hulkster, not Superdome. Or what, but I mean, I would hope he isn't doing that because that's where a lot of these lawsuits and allegations and things of that nature are coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know. Other numbers, WWE reporting a net loss of $14.5 million for the second quarter of 2014. Apparently, there's an additional payment option for fans who don't feel up to that 6-month commitment thing. Instead of $9.99 a month with the 6-month commitment, fans can apparently pay $19.99 for 1 month of WWE Network at a time. And the big news for the international fans out there, WWE Network will be rolled out in over 100 countries on August 12th, a mere 10 days from now. Including, and you know that this hits me pretty close to home, eh?
I know where this is going.
A huge broadcast deal in Canada. WWE pairing with Rogers Communications, which is like their biggest broadcast entity up there. I mean, they. I don't even know if I could. I guess if you could compare. I guess it's like their Verizon. Yeah, I don't know what exactly to compare them to. I don't know if they're the dominant and everything else is kind of secondary. But I mean, they're certainly one of the biggest names. I know my phone, whenever I switch over across the border, it goes right over to Rogers Communications, and hopefully I don't pay too much in long-distance fees. But, yeah, Rogers Communications in Canada pairing with WWE for a historic 10-year broadcast and multimedia agreement. Yeah. Making Rogers the exclusive distributor of WWE's flagship programming in Canada through 2024.
Hopefully that should bring some new money, especially because Canadians are, especially because wrestling's like, I would say it's pretty big in Canada.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing how people react up there when I'll be there in a couple of weeks. The deal extends WWE's current programming on Sportsnet 360, formerly known in Canada as The Score. That's where they've been getting
Young.
Raw, SmackDown, and yes, Ray. Spot on. Of course you would. Surprised you don't know what Renee Young had for breakfast. You like her so much. Also including the right to...
That's what...
That's awful. Also including the right to distribute WWE Network as a premium linear channel with a preview beginning August 12th. Think of it akin to the Canadian wrestling HBO equivalent. So it's going to be that kind of pay-type channel. I think it's what WWE was looking to do here in the States, but Comcast and Verizon and the other major players didn't want to play ball with that.
That's not fair.
That's why they went with the over-the-top format here in the States. You mentioned earlier, as I was making my way here rather fervently, we'll just go with fervently, Ricardo Rodriguez, no longer with WWE. He was let go this past week. He said, I want to thank them for a great 4 years, but I miss wrestling. So maybe we'll see him on the circuit somewhere in the not-too-distant future.
Yeah.
He's already been booked for Legends of the Ring and... I think the big event up in New York later this fall as far as conventions and things of that nature.
What's the big event up in New York?
It's another convention similar to Legends of the Ring or when George's Cards and Collectibles did Sign-O-Mania, things of that.
Speaking of conventions, though, we had a CM Punk sighting over last week. Now,
Old news.
Old news? No.
Look, it's CM Punk.
Yeah, but
I thought you were done with him.
I'm not done. I'm just not mad at him anymore.
Oh, good.
I'm I'm frustrated, but I respect his decision. Punk, Chris Hardwick and CM Punk are longtime friends. Chris Hardwick he has a company. He's basically the king of nerds right now called The Nerdist. They do podcasts, and he was working with Chris Hardwick and Nerdist News at San Diego Comic-Con this year. And if you get to listen to the Nerdist podcast, I forget what theater they were at, but at wrapping up the week, it was hilarious. Like, CM Punk is a huge nerd. From what I learned, he has a flux capacitor. Because Chris Hardwick did a Nerdist podcast at CM Punk's home in Chicago. There's also...
He has so much money he can afford plutonium?
I know, right? Great
Man.
Scott!
Oh, goodness.
Which...
Could probably afford Christopher Lloyd at this point, too.
It's just... It's really cool. But there was a story he told, which I... hopefully... If you guys get to look it up, it's really funny. It's called the 18th Mile Story. It was a story how, he did a thing at in Chicago called the I Bleep You Not. Basically, it's a story about how people accidentally poop themselves. And CM Punk did a story called the 18th Mile, where he last minute ran the Chicago Marathon. I'm not going to go into details, but he almost...
I think you can figure it out. Around the 18th mile...
no, it was actually the fact that... He was running the 18th mile, and that's when he was like, "Oh crap, I have to take a crap," And he luckily found a porta potty, but just look.
That had to have affected his marathon time.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Well, I guess I don't know where to go from there, other than I think we'll take care of a little bit of business. Literally and figuratively, and we'll come back and we've got more news and notes. We've got more reaction on Facebook, more slacking on me for not being here the first segment of the show, and a bunch more here on Pro Wrestling Weekly. Fearon Derry alongside Lucas the Intern. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, August 2. On this date in 1998, ECW held its Heatwave 98 pay-per-view. In the main event, Spike Dudley, the Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer defeated Bubba Ray, Devon, and Big Dick Dudley in a six-man Dudleyville street fight. On this date in 1999, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. In the main event, Rick Steiner and Sid Vicious defeated Goldberg and Sting by disqualification. On this date in 2004, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from San Antonio, Texas. In the main event, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair defeated Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, and Edge in a six-man tag team match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, August 2.
Hi, this is Jim Cornette, and you're listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Fearon Derry on 1490 WBCB.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, at least physically. Mentally, emotionally, who the hell knows. But thankfully, we've got Lucas the Intern here, and he's been taking care of things and making me seem like less of an ass clown.
Yeah, well,
this is where you come in and do some sort of Sandowish "You're welcome" or something like that?
Speaking of Sandowish, actually, I've told you I've worked at
You're so modest.
Yeah, I've been volunteering at a YMCA camp up by the Holland Elementary School, and there's this guy there named Patrick who is actually a huge wrestling fan. Ironically enough, he looks a lot like Damien Sandow. Like, he doesn't have the long hair, but the beard and the face, oh my God, like. He even went up and he's like, you look like him, right? He's like, oh yeah, definitely. My friends give me crap, and I always just go, you're welcome.
Does he have a blue bathrobe?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was just a random, curious question. I thought it would be funnier than it absolutely actually was.
A blue bathrobe with white piping? I do not think so. And an ascot.
Didn't WWE sell that at some point? I think. Yeah, they sold replica bathrobes for Damien Sandow. I wonder if they still have that on the site and if they have it for a discount.
Why can't he just go back to his regular ring gear? That's what I want to know.
Because they're doing this whole impersonation thing, and it's a mess and whatnot. Yeah, it's heck if I know. All right, let's talk about some other things that are going on here. Triple H, he announced a new NXT live special coming up. A new 2-hour live special for NXT during this. He announced it during this past Thursday's NXT taping at Full Sail University. And the date is set for Thursday, September 11th. It's like that date has some sort of like significance or something. No, I know. It's not as bad as when they were beating over the head December 29th for No Holds Barred, the match, the movie back in 1989. Yeah, I know that's even when I was a youngin'. Yeah. But it'll air worldwide on the WWE Network, and Triple H teased that all NXT titles will be on the line, and also hinted at the reveal of a new NXT GM.
Speaking of NXT, there were on some news and notes here. There were 5 NXT talent cuts. So
I was gonna say we were still on news and notes. We didn't go from it. You're just providing a different story. Yes, a related story.
WWE released NXT developmental wrestlers Garrett Dillon, Travis Tyler, Slate Randall, Mac Miles, and Danny Jax.
That's all according to Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com. So I wonder if that's part of the 7% of staff that, well, no, I guess we're in a new quarter, so I guess this will be part of the figures that they roll out 3 months from now when they talk about the third quarter of 2014.
Yeah. So
I guess that and Rick Rod, for example. Of course, WWE wishing all of them the best in their future endeavors, because that's what they do. The future endeavoring and all that.
Okay, so on to some nerdy wrestling news. U.S. champ to join the dark side.
I was going to say, when isn't this nerdy news?
Good point. The Irish tabloid, the Irish Mirror, is reporting that WWE United States champion, the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, was on set in Ireland for the forthcoming Star Wars Episode 7, directed by J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is also the director of, he's done the Star Trek movies. I believe he did Super 8. I never saw that movie. And he also, one of my personal favorites, he directed a TV series called Alcatraz, which I thought was great. But, the story also notes that Sheamus has previously played Darth Vader in promotion videos and speculates that he might play the iconic character in the movie. Wait. They know Darth Vader's dead, right?
I don't know. Maybe they're bringing him back like a "that's gotta be Kane" moment. I don't know.
Okay. It's episode 7. Okay. Sheamus.
I don't know. I'm not up on my chronology necessarily.
Yes. Sheamus did, noting to help the rumors. He tweeted a picture of the article and said, "I can't confirm that I won't be reprising the role of Darth Vader in Star Wars. I hope that's clear." Irish Mirror.
Oh yeah. Well, the way he put that was very. There were a lot of negatives in there. I think it was a triple negative. I can't confirm that I won't not be reprising the role of Darth Vader.
How are
that's him just throwing extra terminology in there to murk the waters even more.
Yeah. But I don't understand how you can be Darth. It just doesn't make sense. If they were going to make a new Darth Vader, they'd have to make him they'd have to give him another Sith name. I mean, I'm going to try not to nerd rage at this, but it's episode 7. Darth Vader died in episode 6, you dingbats. I'm a nerd. Yes, thank you. Thank you, past me from from almost a year ago. Thank you.
Wow, how time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah, my voice got deeper, too. Wow.
Yeah. You sound a little bit like
Smithers, or not Smithers.
No, like Beavis Paul Schaefer there, as John from Northeast Philly was putting in.
Oh, shut up. Speaking of John,
let's go ahead and bring him up here. We've got John from Northeast Philly making all kinds of contributions, and he's doing so verbally here on Pro Wrestling Weekly.
You could be 15 minutes late. That's fine. I'm about 7 weeks overdue.
Oh, there we go.
A little bit.
So I guess
what it is. It's my dumb employer needed me on mornings on Saturdays, so it's nice to be able to have at least one Saturday where I can chime in. But I do listen via the podcast.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I just need to be more diligent about putting it up here, as opposed to usually milling around here on a Saturday morning, depriving myself of sleep even further, and then creating havoc like this, like today has occurred.
Right. Well, and you look at, because I was going to bring that up, I totally missed it with all the talk of the Impact news. We all, like with Sheamus, if it happens, it's primarily because it'll probably be like some backstory, maybe like a flashback sequence or something, but the original actor, David Prowse, died last April. That's why they won't go to him to play Darth Vader once again.
And that answers the question. I mean, everybody knows, or at least most people know who provides the voice, but nobody knows who was behind the suit, or very few people do. So excellent, yes, points abound for John from Northeast Philly. I don't know why I'm turning this into an after midnight segment, but whatever. Or at midnight.
Ding, ding, ding.
Points.
Yeah, points. Something like that.
Chris Hardwick and CM Punk.
The whole thing with Impact, let's go to that, because I brought it up on the Facebook page, WBCP Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Facebook fan page, of course.
The whole thing with how I feel like what they should do with it, and I think it would make sense. Because if you look at the user base for the WWE Network, they just don't have that foothold yet. But once they get to 1 million, I think that's when it'll turn just a bit. I mean, when you get that we also got to get to the holidays first. As they say with any console launch, it's always the second Christmas. How do you favor after the second Christmas? So if you look at services like Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, Crackle, Amazon, once they get to 1 million, it really starts to pick up right there. It took Xbox Live 5 years to get 8 million subscribers, and that was a one payment per year thing, and it was very early and very primitive before streaming video services. So if Impact was smart, or if they had the resource, I don't know how like contractual things work. If they were smart, they would go with Hulu. Hulu has advertisers, they have sponsors, they have endorsements, plus Hulu reaches more audiences than the WWE Network has currently. So Hulu can actually get, because just to be honest, the WWE Network only airs they air pay-per-views live, NXT live, and main event live. They don't have anything live outside of those programs.
You mean the pre- and post shows for Raw and SmackDown don't count? No.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with this, though.
It's a good move for them to do it, and I think it would make sense, being that Hulu has a much broader audience. They can advertise it along with, because they are the exclusive home of South Park. You can only stream it there. And they got a bunch of shows of their own. I don't think Netflix would be the route to go. Netflix doesn't have commercials in their programming.
Wait, hold on a second. Just to
soak this in. Go ahead.
Soak this in. I thought, because I remember my brother has Netflix, and we were watching South Park a couple of weeks ago, or a couple.
Oh yeah, no, they have the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Netflix. Yeah, the series, the TV show is only going to be on Hulu.
Since when?
This year, actually, within the last month or two.
Oh.
All 17 seasons and all the new episodes will be exclusive to Hulu. So if Impact was smart, they would get in on that, because the Hulu is looking for content, because even though I prefer Hulu over Netflix, Netflix is the one that gets the Academy Award nominations with House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, but they don't have commercials.
Yeah, so, I wonder if Stephanie McMahon will be starring in that second one.
Oh.
Yeah.
But very good.
Chris Jericho.
New boo.
Oh, goodness.
But it's smart. I think it would make sense for them to do it. You can do a live show every week, and you can also, if you want to continue to go into your, the Attitude Era about 12, 13, 14 years too late, you can be a little bit more edgy. You ain't got to worry about, you are getting a large advertising base, and Hulu will back it. But like I said, I don't know how contractual things work. Plus, I don't even know if TNA has the resources to even fund the wrestlers, much less go global on the largest video streaming service out there.
That's an interesting point, although apparently that hasn't stopped them from signing people. And thanks so much for the call, John. I got to get rolling here. Former X Division champion Zima Ion, DJZ, re-signing a multi-year deal with TNA. And you grimace at that. Not a fan of the DJZ character, though. No,
not at all. Speaking of other characters I'm not a fan of, guess who just suffered their first loss? I am just soaking this in. It feels so good to finally say that Bo Dallas got beaten by R-Truth.
Not once, but twice in the same week. Although the second was by disqualification last night on SmackDown. That was because Bo Dallas wouldn't. I guess he didn't believe in breaking the 5 count for the ref.
Yeah. Oh my God. It just feels so good. Just a wave of relief It's almost like it's over. It's over.
The undefeated
Thank
streak is
God.
over. Well, you know what? I like that it gave a little bit of edge and a new direction to his character. Because, I mean, that's usually the problem with undefeated streaks is you linger onto them too long. And, I don't know, things start to wane a little bit. Even in the case of Goldberg, when he was, 174-0 or something before hitting Kevin Nash. Yeah, that's... All right, we'll get back to some news and notes in a second here, as we've already only got a few minutes left in the show, thanks to me. But the Facebook fan page, oh goodness, everybody's just hopping on with all kinds of things. John throwing in hashtag Occupy Fearon's chair, which thank you and Denny so much for doing in that in my stead. Eric from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, in the words of the great Eric Gargiulo, Fearon, did you tell your alarm clock, excuse me? Quite possibly. Let's see. He also adds, let's travel 88 miles an hour, go back in time to wake up Fearon for the show to start with him. Another good one, I thought. And also, Adam chiming in, letting us know that the Legends of the Ring convention, that's actually going to be next month in Monroe, New Jersey.
Have we heard anything about this from Harry Barnett? Because I really want to see if he's posted anything.
Oh, no, but I'm sure he'll hear the podcast later and give me all kinds of grief, slag, and everything else.
Yeah.
Because he's been too busy complaining about the fact that WWE hasn't come out and said, well, we're going to be live, or we're going to launch the network in the UK on this date. Because he heard about the deal with Canada coming down in 10 days, and he's going, I think he actually said at one point, what the hell? UK deserves it before Canada, and I didn't want to get into that country debate with him. I didn't want to start an international battle or anything like that.
Well, Harry, if you are listening, I am taking your advice. I'm going to see Guardians of the Galaxy later today, and it's going to be a blast. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah, I'm not a big movie guy, but I don't know. I may have to give this a look. We'll see. All right.
Considering what Harry Barnett posted on Facebook, it's done something that WWE could never do. Make
him like Batista?
Dave Batista, yeah.
And how about that? Just finishing setting up the tents outside and getting the rings together for the Kiwanis Circus, none other than Nick Cataldi.
Hey!
Oh, he yelled it. I played the clip and he yelled
real thing, Eric.
Give him the real thing. That's all right. I gave a boo from you earlier as well in your absence. My stupidity. Oh, here,
It was a real long boo, I hope.
Well, it was a short one.
Oh, no. Well, I'm booing your stupidity. I want it to be a very long one.
Such as?
Boo! And I don't think I have one of those up there. Only kidding, Fearon. Only kidding.
Yeah, you're here. You're here just for the end of the show, and I got here for about 2/3 of it. So that was my stupidity. Got here about 20 after. So Denny and Lucas put things together in my absence.
And mine,
For about 15 minutes, the inmates ran the asylum.
The intern ran the asylum.
Yeah.
That's more of what happened.
Joker ran Arkham.
All right, so I've got to throw this. We'll save this story for the very end, just because we've only got a couple of minutes left. We'll throw this out here first. WWE Hall of Famer winning defamation case. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did, actually.
Well, for those who hadn't, WWE Hall of Famer Jesse Ventura, the body, the governor, whatever you have, whatever may have him, won an $1.845 million defamation lawsuit against the estate of author Chris Kyle. Ventura suing Kyle for claiming in a book that he punched out Ventura in a bar after he criticized the Navy SEAL involvement in the Iraq War. Kyle died last year in 2013, but Ventura went forward with his lawsuit against Kyle's estate, which is run by his widow. I guess Navy SEALs make decent coin, $1.8, almost $2 million. But I mean, they're also like some of the baddest bleepity bleepers in the world, so that may have something to do with it. Oh, goodness. All right. And, of course, I'm all thrown off by this whole me being delayed by 15 or 20 minutes or so. Of course, if you haven't gotten your tickets for it already, Crime Time, JTG, and Shag Gaspard will be at George's Cards and Collectibles and then Chamonix Mall Saturday, August 23rd. It's only 3 weeks away from 11 until 1. Check out George's for all of your sports and wrestling memorabilia needs. There are 3 locations, including their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, in the Oxford Valley Mall in the Sears Court in the lower level, and their newest location in the Neshaminy Mall, where Crime Time will be in 3 weeks, in the movie theater wing. For more info on the upcoming Crime Time appearance, give George's a call at 215-943-2475 or visit them on the web at georgescollectibles.com. And also, Monster Factory comes back to Paulsboro in 2 weeks. They have 7 matches announced. They've got more announced later today. I'll get into more of that next week. Check them out at monsterfactory.org. All right, so this story, a former WCW star turning to porn. That's right. Former WCW star Buff Bagwell will be filming a porn movie for Vivid, according to TMZ. Not that you know what any of that is. The less you say, the better in this case. Yeah. Bagwell has previously appeared on the show Gigolos and has discussed here months ago, pulled in a hefty price tag for those looking to spend some quality time with the American male.
He's got a wife and kids, doesn't he?
The wife has signed off on it. She is okay with it. I kid you not.
Wow.
The wife is okay with it.
Wow.
And since we've only got, less than a minute here, real quick, birthdays. You'll love this. 1 wrestling-related one, 2 not so much, because it was kind of hard to scrape up some for August 2nd. A lot of places falsely reporting that today is Jim Neidhart's birthday. It is not. His birthday's in February. Stupid internet. But one wrestler whose birthday it is, from 1985, Harry Smith, formerly known in WWE as David Hart Smith, former WWE Tag Team Champion and son of the late British Bulldog. He turns 29 today.
He's going to turn 29 whether he likes it or not.
I see what you did there. Going back to SummerSlam 92. Very good. Going back to 1970 for screenwriter, producer, director, and actor Kevin Smith.
Yay.
Famous for movies like Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Clerks 2. He's 44 today.
And he's also host of AMC's Fear Fest and a huge fan of The Walking Dead.
And from 1950, Judge Lance Ito. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch for you.
Who got a bum rap? I mean, you know.
Famous for presiding over the O.J. Simpson murder trial back in 1995. He turns 64 today. So happy birthday to all of you.
Did Kevin, what's his name, do?
Kevin Smith?
Yeah. Was he the one that Godzilla Comes to Croydon?
No, he
didn't do it. Okay, just wondering.
No, was that your autobiographical movie, perchance?
Do I look like Godzilla? Shut up.
Actually, one more thing about Kevin Smith.
Maybe more like the Yeti.
Something about Kevin Smith. He does a show on AMC called Comic Book Men, where he and his employees do own a shop called The Stash. I don't know the location of the shop, but it's a very
in Red Bank, New Jersey. Yeah. Yes, Jane Silent I got you. Go on.
No, that's like
quickly.
It's a very. I've always wanted to visit there. Definitely someplace I want to go on. All
right, we'll have to make a road trip at some point. Anyway, we're going to make way, speaking of the road, for the Kiwanis Circus. That's right, the 3-ring tent is set, and the
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm going to go get some sleep, because apparently I need that. Nick Cataldi, he is up next with the country music hall, the Kiwanis Circus, and who knows what kind of insanity here. We'll be back next week with more.
And I'll be here next week.
You'll be here next week?
Yeah, I'll be here next week.
Hopefully I'll be here on time. We'll find out.
It'll be hopefully nice.
If not,
I'll be here anyway.
Yeah, if not, Lucas will be here and he'll run the show
We'll get a show for you.
Wonderfully, because
he'll do just fine.
Yeah, you get an A for the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, you get an A. A star.
Yes.
Gold star for you, sir.
Gold star, yeah.
All right, let me get out of here. Make way for the Kiwanis Circus, Nick Cataldi. Thanks again to Lucas. Thanks again to Denny O. And no thanks to my alarm for royally sucking. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB.